So, about a month-ish ago, I said I wanted to take a break from reading Worm. And I had made sure to say that this is not me wanting to drop the story. It's not a, wow, the story is so bad, I don't want to read it anymore, I'm getting sick of it, I'm done. It was more of a, I've listened, because I'm using the audiobook, it's like I've consumed a lot of Worm over the past few months. Near half the story. I read the first 15 arcs of 31. I feel like I want to take a little bit of a break, maybe try and read some other books. I want to read This Is How You Lose the Time War, which I did, and I liked it quite a bit. I wanted to read Dune Messiah, which I'm not quite done with, but I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. And that ding-dang gender-swap Twilight book, which I haven't started yet, and at some point I want to read that, because boy, that sounds like such a fun shit show. But as my break went on, I was like, when I'm done with all of these, or maybe even before I finish all of these, I want to get back into Worm. This is more just to take a little bit of time, relax, not have to worry about, like, I gotta get an arc done this week, get back to it when I feel ready. There were a non-zero amount of times during my break where I was like, I really want to listen to some Worm, and I tried, and the video for the Arc 16 audiobook just wouldn't load. Happened a lot, even when I was, like, actively listening to it. For some reason, this video gave me a lot of trouble. Like, no other part of the Worm audiobook has done this for me. Other videos on YouTube didn't have that problem, so I don't know what the hell was happening. I feel like part of it was the universe's cosmic energy just saying, JJNW, no, don't read Worm. But also, I've seen so many bugs. Like, there was a while where there was this big centipede, like, right outside the house. It's like, is Taylor keeping tabs on me? And I brought up how there have been, like, these fucking spiders in my car. I'm like, I'm surrounded by bugs. It's a constant reminder that I should be reading Worm. And I want to get back into it. So, I started up Arc 16. I listened to it. Yeah, I listened to it while driving. I listened to quite a bit of it while I was playing Puppet Porn, I'm not gonna lie. I listened to it while, like, doing the dishes. All the kind of regular crap that I would do. It's Worm. I don't want to say Worm is background noise, because I actively pay attention while I'm listening to it, but because it's an audiobook, I can do other stuff while I'm listening to it, and it's how I like to read Worm. It's how I like to consume it. But, I finished Arc 16. I've also actually finished Arc 17. I'm gonna do that video hopefully right after this, if not tomorrow, and it feels so good to be back. There's a part of me that's like, I don't want to pull the trigger and say that Arc 16 is my favorite arc. Partly because I absolutely loved what I got in 17. I loved all the stuff with the Slaughterhouse 9. Again, there were some parts where I was a little like, is this a little bullshitty? Maybe. And some of those things, like I remember saying, especially when it came to Gru and his second trigger event, that I know this is really bad, but did they get out of it too easy? And as he even said then, I was like, I know when I read more and really see what it did to Brian's character, I'm going to recant that statement. And I will say, yeah, I've recanted that statement. Like, seeing what it did to his character, he's absolutely fucked, but it is really interesting. Like, there's a genuine cost to what happened there. I love the arcs with the 9. I love Arc 8. Not only is it the fight with Leviathan, and it's because I don't think we'd even heard about an Endbringer before then. Maybe in Danny's interlude in part 1, like when they're talking about Scion, maybe it was mentioned. But I remember at the very end of Arc 7, like, Endbringer. I'm like, who the hell is Endbringer? Like, oh, it's not a who, it's a what? And the answer to that what is really fucking bad. I think that arc is great, and what sells it for me is the ending. It is Armsmaster outing Taylor as a traitor to the Undersiders and her falling out with the Undersiders. Like, this is juicy. This is wonderful. There's my beloved Arc 3, which is the heist. Like, there have been so many arcs of Worm that I have loved and just sincerely adored. I'm like, do I really want to go ahead and say 16 is my favorite. Is this just the recency bias kicking in? I don't know. The other part of me, though, is like, that was satisfying. That was such, I don't want to say a return to form, because that makes it sound like the previous arc and the previous few arcs weren't that good. But it was like this is a perfect welcome back. And I can say this, like, if I had read arc 16, because I was kind of on the fence of, should I read arc... excuse me. Hold up. That's some water. I gotta drink this shit. Oh, I hated that sound I made. I apologize for that. That was kind of fucking gross. Anyways, there was a part of me that was wondering, like, should I go ahead and get arc 16 done now? Finish the Coil arc, get about to the halfway point of the story, then take my break? Or should I wait on it? I feel like I'm being 100% honest. If I had finished arc 16 before the break wouldn't have happened. Because it was so good and so hype. I'm like, no, I've got to go ahead and read the next one. And as it starts, I'm like, who the fuck is Francis? And then after a while, I'm like, oh, I know who Francis is. Oh, I gotta read this whole arc. This is gonna be so good. And it was. And I've spent like 6.5 minutes and I haven't really said anything about arc 16. The first chunk of it is dealing with Dragon. The end of arc 15, that last interlude was, I believe it was Triumph specifically, who was the mayor's son, who got really fucked up by Skitter. From his perspective, we see the heroes of Brockton Bay debating what to do about the Undersiders and the Travelers. Not only do they have a lot of power, not just because of their territories and also the street cred and respect they have for being the ones to deal with the Nine, but also they attacked the mayor and a cape in their civilian identity. They kind of broke the rules of cops and robbers, and some saying, I don't think they did it on purpose. Like, they attacked the mayor on purpose. No shit. I think the stuff with Triumph was an accident. That was a bad coincidence. And other people saying, they have Tattletale. There's no way it was a coincidence. And yeah, it was an unfortunate coinkydink. It is what it is. And some of that, I remember Assault in particular, especially because we learned that Battery died during the Red Mist incident. Actually, no, I think we learned about Red Mist, or Battery dying right after the Red Mist incident in Legends Interlude. But here we see how Assault is taking it, and he is not taking it very well at all. So they're like, we really want to have, like, some of the heroes are saying we want war with them, others are saying no. And it ends with Dragon and this new hero, Defiant. Who I love, everyone's just like, that's just Armsmaster. But at the same time, if we acknowledge that it's Armsmaster, we're acknowledging that we're giving him leeway when we shouldn't be. So this is just easier to say it's a different dude. And Triumph's like, this isn't okay. Like, Armsmaster broke the Endbringer truce. He's I looked up to the dude, but he's a piece of shit. He needs to pay for that. But we can use him. And if we bring up the fact that this is him, or we're giving him special privileges and all this other shit. And that is, I think I've said this consistently, that is my favorite part of Worm. No, okay. The superpowers are my favorite part of Worm. Like, I love how cool a lot of these powers are. I love the ethics and the politics and the morality. It's so interesting to me. And I've said it several times, like, as much as I think the fights themselves are usually pretty fun, the fights are the part where I kind of tune out the most. But when it's characters talking either about, like, their lives and civilian identities, or again, like, the identity of what it means to be a hero, what it means to be a villain, the ethics, the morality, the politicking, this is the shit I love. Like, Alexandria's, her interlude was so interesting to me because there was so much of that, and really getting to know, like, a lot of the lore and shit about Cauldron. I'm like, yes, this is cool, this is great. But I'm getting off track, because I barely said anything about 16. So, Dragon and Defiant. are after the 9. However, Dragon sent several of her suits that are not being controlled directly by her. They're being controlled by an AI based off her, which is interesting because she's already an AI. And they are there to take out the Undersiders and the Travelers and try and bring them into custody, which means more than likely putting them in the birdcage. So the first couple chapters are, we have to deal with these suits that are going around. And, like, I liked it. I liked Taylor having to just come up with strategies. And I love her having to deal with Rachel. Because the suit Rachel's fighting, like, every time she breaks it, the suit reforms. So you're not completely destroying it. And Taylor's like, why the fuck would you send this thing after Rachel? And then she realizes it's because Rachel won't stop until it's dead. And every time it gets back up, Rachel, in her mind, has to keep fighting it. And she's gonna wear herself out. She's gonna run out of resources. This is exactly the one you'd send after Rachel. Fuck. Rachel, how many times have you knocked it down? Like 4? Okay, so we need to run. If I run, I admit defeat. But you've beaten it 4 times, and 4 wins versus 1 loss means you still have a net profit of wins. So let's go. Like, I love shit like that. And it's like, okay, this thing is an AI. How do I beat it? Paradox. No, the paradox doesn't work on me. Ah, fuck. Okay, the last time I dealt with this thing, even though I'm an enemy and it wanted to arrest me, it made sure I couldn't be harmed. Imps had a second trigger event, and she's in the area, and she's really small, and you might step on her. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And the AI is like, I don't believe you, but also isn't moving because it might step on him. It's like, cool, you sit right there. Like, I did enjoy that quite a bit. And, like, as they're attacking the PRT and the wards, he's like, I really like the wards, but I feel so sorry for them. Because anytime they're in a fight, they just get their asses kicked. Even when they weren't fighting the Undersiders. Like, I remember when the 9 are first introduced. Not as individuals. Well, like, we as the audience first hear about the 9 in Arc 8. No, sorry, because 8 is Leviathan, 9 is the wards. You get this fight with the wards and the Travelers, and the Travelers beat their asses, and afterwards they're like, not only did we lose, not only did we get our asses beat, they were actively holding back the entire time because they were trying not to kill us. Wow, we fucking suck! Like, I feel so bad for them, especially because I like them quite a bit, and I really like the power. Like, Vista is such a cool power. Clock Blocker has such a cool power. Weld is just a big metal dude. I'm like, I like this guy. Like, I want to see more of him. I know I think I had said this. It was something I thought quite a bit reading the first few arcs, like within the first 10. I was waiting for Taylor to join the wards. Whether it was part of, like, her being like a triple agent or some crazy shit, or if, like, especially after Arc 8, I was like, oh shit, I keep thinking it's gonna happen, maybe this is when it happens, and, like, we'll see, now that she has to actually fight the Undersiders, how does this go, and do any of the wards actually trust her? Probably not, but how are these gonna affect her loyalty? After this arc, I'm like, that shit is not happening. Like, she has crossed a line. No, it's an understandable line in the context. We're going to put a major pin in that. Also, it's not like Shadowstalker hadn't crossed that line before, but it became more and more apparent as the story went on. Taylor's like, I fucking hate the PRT. I hate the idea of the wards. It wasn't going to happen. At this point, I'm like, there's no fucking way this happens. Anyways, my point was Trickster, like, teleporting Taylor into the building. Like, she goes in, beats the shit out of people, teleports out, gets back in, beats the shit up. I thought that shit was great. They managed to kidnap Piggy, Director Pigot, And we get one of those conversations I really like, again, about like the ethics and the politics. Is like, yeah, you guys aren't going to kill me. I know you're not going to. Like, here's the thing. I win either way. Because if you don't kill me, I just become a thorn in your side, and I'm actively weighing you down and not giving you the information. If you do kill me, you prove that I'm right. That you guys are villains, you guys are absolute fucking pieces of shit, and you get everything you deserve. If you try to torture me to get this information, I'm not going... I think it's Lisa. It was either Lisa or Taylor, like, she's not going to break. Trust me. Not only is she not going to break, she wants us to torture her because it proves every misconception she has about us. And we can't do that. We can't give in. We can't let her win. And I find that so interesting. Just the mind games that she's playing with Lisa as Lisa's trying to get more information and Piggy's not giving. She's like, okay, you're not giving me that, which means it's probably this, so it's probably this. Hey, by the way, Miss Tattletale, your parents are... I think she called her Sarah. It's like, that's Lisa's real name. Your parents are still looking for you. Oh, you should have seen the look on their faces when I told them you were still alive. And Lisa just stops. It is this moment of, you bitch. Huh. So this is what it's like to be on the opposite end of me. Of have someone have this information that they don't want me to know, but I know it and I use it to null. It's working! Oh, I hate you! I like you, but I hate you! Like, it was great. I absolutely loved it. I was like, damn, this is a good arc. This is some cool and interesting shit. I wonder if it can be topped. So, they're able to destroy enough of the dragon suits, and they use Piggy and her, like, authority as the PRT director to actually shut a couple down. So, essentially, kind of the way, the politicking that I love is the PRT looks at this and goes, so Dragon, those suits were really fucking expensive, and they didn't work. You will have your chance to do this again, but you have to be absolutely fucking sure these things work. So, essentially, the implication is they've beaten Dragon for now. Dragon will come back at some point to deal with them. When Dragon comes back, they are going to lose, because if she has the clearance to come back, it means she's like, oh yeah, I am 1000% convinced I'm going to win, and here are all the modifications I made to do so. And if Dragon is there herself actively, like, controlling all the suits, it feels like, yeah, they're probably super fucked. And I keep waiting for, like, a whole-ass arc in the birdcage. And I remember saying, when Taylor goes to the birdcage, because there's no way she won't go to the birdcage, that's when I'll get it. We do have a birdcage interlude, so I really might not be seeing Taylor in there. But if Dragon comes back, you're like, okay, I might be getting Taylor in the birdcage, which means I get more Taylor and Amy shit. And Amy is my favorite character. I think at this point, I can officially say, as much as I love Brian, as much as I love Lisa, as much as I love the Travelers and all these other characters, and I do like Taylor, I do like Skitter, Panacea is my favorite character in the story. And I'm like, I can't wait to just see more of her. Anyways, point. They beat Dragon. They have a meeting with Coil, and Coil had said earlier in the arc, okay, like, if you guys can take care of Dragon, like, within 24 hours, I'll give you whatever you want. I don't remember what everyone said. I think, like, Regent's like, cool, boss, I don't know, just give me more money. Like, shit like that, and Taylor's like, you know what the fuck I want? I want Dinah, I want that girl free. Yeah, fine, deal. If you do it, done. Really? Yeah, done. Yeah, I don't believe that for a second, but hopefully. And then afterwards, they have a meeting with Coil, and he's like, all right, guys, you beat Dragon. Actually, no, this scene is later, so I'm going to put a pin in that scene as well. I think it's after that, Coil kind of calls everybody. He's like, all right, good shit. Travelers, Undersiders, you kept your territory in order, you beat Dragon, you guys are like my great minions, so tell you what, mandatory, you're taking a few days off. We're not going to talk any big business. I don't want to see anyone in costume, no using your powers in public, anything like that. Strict orders. I mean, you know, if like emergencies happen, but strict orders. Don't try to do business. Just relax. You've earned it. The mayoral elections are coming up. The debates are coming up. The plan is in motion. So Taylor spends some time with her dad and her dad's friends, and she's actively discussing politics with them. And she's like, you know, I mean, I don't think the villains are that bad. The PRT's kind of ass. The mayor's kind of ass. You know, I mean, living under a villain might not be the worst thing. And her dad's like, Taylor, I'm so fucking proud of you. I love seeing how much you've grown. Because a few months ago, you wouldn't have said any of that. Like, I don't care about, like, if I agree with you on any of that or not. I'm just so happy that you feel comfortable enough to talk. That you feel like, I love seeing you being able to be open again. I love you so much. I've been saying for a while that it's like, Danny's gonna die. I don't know when. I know it's gonna do something to Taylor. It can't be your second trigger event. Because I did say that after Gru had his, I looked into that a little bit just to kind of understand how that works. And that it has to be you essentially living through your first trigger event a second time. Since Brian's was needing to protect his sister, Bonesaw threatening his sister, and Jack saying, yeah, just fucking kill her, and him needing to be able to save her, and the fight or flight, yada, yada, yada. That is what triggered Brian a second time. For Taylor's, it would have to be something claustrophobic, is kind of how I'm understanding, like claustrophobic in the dark, surrounded by bugs, surrounded by like dirt and grime and human filth. So watching her dad die would not be related to that. Now, depending on the circumstances, they don't have to be mutually exclusive, but they feel like they would be. I do think at some point it's going to happen. And if it does, like, in my mind, if anything happens to Danny, Taylor is dead. And it's all Skinner at that point. And that sounds interesting to me. That sounds kind of scary. Like, with Skinner's already flexible morality, which, again, like, there's that pin in the wall. It's going to be, I'm really excited to see what the fuck happens with Skinner going forward. But they go to the elections. You got the mayor and his two challengers. Coyle shows up. He's got some droogs with them. He blows himself up and dies. The droogs he had with him seem to die. Yada, yada, yada. Blah, 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 blah. Crazy, cool, fun shit. There are some people that die. None of the candidates died. And the reporters, who are all Coyle's plants, are like, oh, look, the dude died, and, you know, shit's going wrong, and the mayor has no control over the city, and blah, 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 blah. So it's after that, Taylor has a meeting with the Travelers, be like, hey, we're going to go, like, talk to Coyle. Like, what is our thing with us? Like, are we cool? And Trickster's stance is essentially, not really. Like, personally, I have no real beef with any of you, and none of my crew do. I mean, the shit you did to Ballistic and Parian, like, that was a dick move, but no one's really that mad about it. But we don't particularly like you either. We're business partners. Like, we're co-workers. That doesn't mean we're friends, and personally, we kind of like to keep it that way. Keeping everything, like, all cards on the table, we're closer to Coyle than we are to you. Just keep that in mind. So the Undersiders have a meeting with Mr. Thomas Calvert, which is Coyle's civilian identity, which is a member of the PRT. I think they said he's like a captain of one of their squads or some shit. I'm like, oh my god, of fucking course he is. Like, that makes being a supervillain all that more impactful. And then I kind of thought about it first. I was like, no, of course he is. He's part of Cauldron. Because they mentioned it was I don't remember if it was in arc 15, it might have been in 14, but I'm like 90%, because I think it was in Alexandria's, I think it was in her interlude specifically, the doctor from Cauldron, who I'm assuming is the leader of Cauldron, that's kind of the vibe I get. Maybe she is like the figurehead and the real leader is like a shadowy dude or whatever somewhere. Assuming the doctor is the leader, she was talking about how Coil's work in Brockton Bay is super important to the big overall plan, which to me implies that he is part of Cauldron. I was like, that makes sense, because I have no idea what trigger event would give Coil his powers. So the idea that they came from, I think they called it the Nemesis. Was it Nemesis Syndrome? Or not Syndrome, like the Nemesis Serum or whatever the fuck. The ooze. It's the fucking ooze from Ninja Turtles that turns you into monsters. That's how Coil got his powers. Given what his powers are, that made a lot of sense to me. Like, yeah, of course he was already part of the PRT because Cauldron. Like, that makes so much fucking sense. But Pigo is under forced leave and investigation. So now Thomas Calvert is in charge of the PRT in Brockton Bay. It's like, okay, so he's in charge of the heroes. Most of the villains are gone, and the ones that are left, the Undersiders and the Travelers, are in his pocket. Oh yeah, and then the 3 people running for mayor, one of them he's essentially bribed, and the other is just his person anyways. It's like, so he's got the politics of the city, like the government of the city under his belt, the heroes under his belt, the villains under his belt. Coil's eating good. And the Undersiders try to leverage that, like, hey, boss, Mr. Calvert, Director Calvert, everything's going so well for you. You're Gucci. You don't even need Dinah anymore. He's like, I'd like to keep her just a little bit longer. She's kind of part of what I was gonna do here with the elections, because the one dude I'm bribing but isn't my guy, Dinah's his niece. I was gonna give him Dinah back, and that was gonna be a big plan. Everything was gonna get him to drop out. Skitter, do you mind if I keep the kid a little bit longer? Well, boss, yes, I mind. Give her back. All right, fine. A deal's a deal. Whether it's a deal with Director Calvert or a deal with Coil, I am a man of my word. You can have Dinah back. No problem. Like, really? Deadass? Deadass. So Taylor gets to go meet Dinah, and she sees her, and she just has this moment of, I did it. All the hard work I have done these past few, gosh, how long has it actually been since the Embringer attack? It hasn't been months. I think it's been weeks. I mean, I think the Slaughterhouse 9 was like a week, maybe even less than that. But it's like, these past few days have been hell, but I have made it through, and I have done it for this little girl. And then the moment's gone. Taylor gets teleported away. She's now, like, in this fucking, like, abandoned building. It's not quite abandoned, because abandoned. It's abandoned. It's not a word, dummy. Also, let me get some water real quick. No nasty gurgling sounds that time. Character development. Let's go. It's not a fully abandoned building, because there's Calvert and his droogs, and I don't remember exactly what he says. I don't even think he really monologues. It's just kind of a, yeah, Skitter, you're a fucking problem. It just clocks her. He just shoots her. And it turns out Spider Silk is bulletproof, so she's okay, and she's using her bugs to, like, get in the soldiers, like, getting into their pockets, pulling the pins out of grenades, because Coil's like, don't use grenades. She's using her bugs to make the swarm clone, and it's something she's done a few times already. I just really like the idea of, like, the swarm clones. Like, it's so fucking cool. It's like, okay, they don't really see me because of all, like, the fire and shit, and this is kind of gonna look like me. You go over there so they target you and not me, so I get the fuck out. She is able to escape, gets in a truck. She's like, I don't even have my license, but fuck it, I'm 16, I'm gonna drive. So she drives one of the trucks, like, with the other trucks. And she sees some shit go down. Because she's like, okay, Coyle made a move on me. That means one of three things. A, he is just making a move on Skitter. 2, he is making a move on Taylor, and he's going to go after my dad. 3, he's making a move on the Undersiders as a whole. Do I go to save my dad, or do I go save my friends? If I save my dad and he's after my friends, my dad won't be able to help me. If I save my friends and he's going after my dad, my friends can help me. It's not necessarily that they are more important to me, but the optimal play is the Undersiders. That's what I'm doing. So she's like, all right, I'm going to go find them. She's able to find them pretty easily. Most of them, because Lisa and Alec aren't there. And, I mean, Imp is there, but she can't see her because, Imp. So what she sees is a body double of her. She's like, okay, this is someone that has, like, my hair, like, the color, the style, has my build. That's my fucking costume. Coyle, you son of a bitch. How long have you been fucking planning this shit? And they've got, like, this, like, smoker box that is affecting the bugs in the area, so they are mimicking Taylor's power. So she's with Brian, Rachel, and Dinah. And I don't remember if she was able to quite hear what her body double said, but something along the lines of, this was always part of the plan. She, like, shoots at Gru and Bitch, teleports away with Dinah, and Rachel's pissed. Like, are you fucking telling me she betrayed us again? Like, I actually befriended her. I had my dogs die to save her. Then she betrayed me. Then she came back into the group. I tried to get rid of her. She kicked my ass. Then I let her back into my life and kind of became friends with her again. And then she did it again! Like, you can feel how pissed she is. I think she, like, orders Bentley and Bastard, like, if you see her, kill her. Like, I want her dead. I want it to hurt. I want her maimed. And Brian's just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand. And Taylor's like, fuck! That wasn't me! Are they gonna believe me? Like, would I believe me if I didn't know better, if I didn't see that shit happen? Oh, man. And then Imp out of nowhere just, like, fucking bops her, bonks her, and is like, hey, bitch. I told you, if you ever hurt my brother, if you ever betrayed him, I would be your problem. And guess what? That's what you did. So, do you want to make it quick? Or do you want to let me have fun? Because I'd really, really prefer you let me have fun. Then Brian and Rachel arrive on the scene. And Brian just asks her, like, before we do anything, I just want to know why. Can you put up your darkness real quick? So puts up the darkness. Because it wasn't me. You see that right there? Like, destroy that shit. And they destroy that, and then the bugs in the air are going normal. It's like, it wasn't me. I swear. Like, I know it looks really bad, and I've kind of done something similar before, but it wasn't me. And Brian immediately is, okay, I believe you. I trust you. And then, like, Rachel just kind of looks at him like this, and then Im kind of looks at him like this. He's like, I don't want to hear it. I trust her. I trust her with my life. And earlier in the arc, I think it was, like, the first chapter is see Brian and Taylor together. I almost said Brian and Rachel. I'm like, oh, that'd be a weird ship. But, like, we see Brian and Taylor together, and they're, like, cuddling and kissing. Like, this is so sweet. I like these two a lot. And while on the subject of that, I'm shipping Imp and Regent really hard because these two share the exact same 2 brain cells and are on just the same wavelength at all times. And Brian's like, I don't like that Aisha's spending so much time with Alec of all people. Like, I don't know, like, I like Alec, at least enough, but not to the point where I want him dating my sister, you know? I don't know, I thought that shit was fucking great. I really like seeing these 2 characters interact. But, you know, like, that Brian and Taylor really do have this great relationship, which is something that, again, has been kind of, you know, brewing and fostered throughout the story as a whole. And he's like, okay, I trust you. If you say that was Coil, that was Coil. So they come up with a plan to fool Coil. They, like, set up Taylor's body to make it look like she's dead and take a picture of it and send it to Coil. He's like, hey, Coil, like, what the fuck just happened? I don't know. I'm all the way over here. Like, she betrayed you? I don't believe it. I mean, it is kind of classic Skinner, but hey, I mean, that fucking sucks, but we're still cool. I still like the Undersiders. I still want to do a lot with you guys. That's just a damn shame. And Brian's like, hey, I want to meet. I want to be able to talk about this. Like, okay, fine. I'll bring the rest of your team. It's cool. Where do you want to meet? And Brian's like, I don't even remember what they said. I think they said the market. So they meet at the market, and they have a big... They go to the market, meet up with Coil and all his soldiers. He's like, okay, let's cut the bullshit for a second. We're co-workers, we're colleagues, we're professionals. I know a ruse when I see it. I know she's fine. I know you're fucking me over. Guards, like, take care of the problem. You know, Undersiders, like, I was genuinely really liked y'all. Gonna be very useful for my plans. Skitter was the only problem. And at one point, Skinner's like, we're only doing this shit because of you. Like, you literally had, like, a body double for me. Like, you've been planning this for a while. Yeah, I have. It's called a contingency. After that shit with the Endbringer, when I realized you've been trying to betray my team that I set up and trying to betray me the whole time, yeah, I kind of figured your loyalty was as loose as your morality. I had contingencies in place, and it was always Dinah this and Dinah that. No sense of vision, Taylor. I mean, I don't think he ever uses a real name, but no sense of vision. Like, you know what I find so funny about you, Skitter? You constantly keep saying, the greater good. I want peace. I want Brockton Bay to thrive. And yet you try to spite me at every turn, despite the fact that I am bringing peace to the city. Look at all the gangs in Brockton Bay that aren't here anymore because of me. You know how much peace that gives this city? You know how much stability that gives this city? And now I have the fucking PRT under my thumb. I run this place. And I am going to make it a thriving city again. Everything you've requested of me, give the kid back, make the city good. Shit I was gonna do anyways. Leave my dad alone. Why the fuck would I go after your dad? Like, what does that do for me? Nothing. Don't kill Tattletale. She's so valuable. Why would I even think about killing somebody like that? You stupid, stupid girl. But it's okay. Because I don't have to deal with you anymore. Guards, take care of the problem. Soldiers, not guards, but they fire. And Taylor's like, whoa, hold on a second. I have a minion. Yeah? Join the club, kiddo. Soldiers. Like, well, I've got a lot of information, and I've told her, like, if you don't hear from me, like, every hour on the hour, whatever the fuck she said, release the information, because it means I'm dead and probably betrayed. Sure, I'll take my chances. Soldiers, can you shoot her now? Well, I mean, you're a cautious guy, Coyle. Be pretty bad if everyone found out about this. Maybe you should let me give her a message. Fine, I'll do it. Give her your message. Well, I'd like some things granted. What? And then this one, she kind of gets into some shit like, don't kill my dad, run the city good, let me make sure Tattletale's okay. And he's like, yeah, I was gonna do all this shit anyways, like, what's wrong with you? But then brings in Tattletale. It's like, how do I know that's her and not a double? I need her to talk, like, we got her password, blah, 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 blah. So they say some shit, and then all the, like, most of the soldiers turn their guns on Cole. He's like, wait, what the fuck? What are you doing? I pay your salaries. Put the guns on them. And Lisa goes, actually, I pay their salaries now. Because I promised them a year's worth of salary up front to turn on you. You don't have that kind of money. Actually, I fucking do. Because I have been skimming money. Like, anytime we did jobs, I took a little bit more than my fair share. I mean, sticky fingers, it is what it is. But, I took a little bit more whenever, like, I've taken some money from you. Not a lot. Like, enough that you wouldn't notice. But enough that it would make a difference over time. You remember when Dragon was here, like, earlier today, and we had to get that information from the Dragon Slayers, and it wasn't cheap? Yeah, that was your idea. Yeah, and you paid for it, which made even you have less money. I'm richer than you now, Mr. Calvert. So, I've paid off your soldiers. They're mine now. All these resources you have, they're mine now. You don't win. Brockton Bay is now my city. There's no place for you in my city. And he tries to make something. He's like, whatever she's paying you, like, I'll pay you more. I'll pay you triple. You can't. You don't have that kind of money. As rich as you are, Mr. Director, you don't have the kind of, I am richer than you. Anything you offer, I can match or beat. Go fuck yourself. And something I noticed, at least maybe it was the way it was being read, maybe it was just my interpretation, Coyle didn't sound as desperate as I was hoping. And for me, if there's one thing I don't like about this arc, and it's not even like a, wow, this is ass, it's just I had been imagining for the past several arcs, is like, I want Coyle's defeat to be from his perspective. I want to see this man whose power is, I can make another reality. And anytime I go to meet with a subordinate or a client or anything like that, I make another reality. So if shit goes wrong, I can learn from that interaction and then just say, it never happened. So there is another reality where he's chilling in his base, totally fine, and goes to meet Skinner. And this is the reality he's choosing to stay in. That means the other one went completely to shit. And I would love to see Coyle just going through this conversation this is so annoying. I fucking hate Skinner. I hate this girl and all her stupid ass demands that I was gonna do anyways. Whatever, it's fine. The problem's taken care of. And then shit goes bad with his soldiers being bought off, and it's like, this is bad. Oh, it happens over there too. Oh, I just died in that reality. Oh, I'm stuck here. Okay, let me make another reality, real quick. Okay, so I'm still here either way, But in this reality, I'll try to say this. I'll try to say that. Oh, fuck, I died there. Nix that one. Let me, another reality. Oh, let me try saying this. Let me try saying this. Oh, fuck. That one got me killed. This one, it gives me a little bit more time. Okay. And, like, you see him just, like, constantly calculate, like, what can I do to get out of this? Okay, that didn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. And then as he just slowly realizes he's being coiled by them, like, oh, that sounds so cool. And it doesn't happen. I'm like, if Worm has ever adapted, like if there's ever like a movie or a television show or some shit, I want Coil's death to be from his perspective. And we see him, even though he probably still has that calm demeanor, you see the constant making of worlds and how like these little, like you could probably see him like start to sweat a little bit. Like he seems kind of calm, but his hands are maybe shaking or like fidgeting a little bit as he's getting more and more frustrated and desperate. It sounds so interesting. It's so satisfying for a character like this. And then he just kind of gives up and he's like, all right, fine. I've lost. I can accept that. So just send me to the birdcage. He's like, I wasn't thinking the birdcage because I know you, Coil. I know your character and your resources and your power. You would never get to the birdcage. You would make sure that someone was there to pick you up and you were fine. We have to take care of this now. And Taylor pulls out her gun. And she saunters forward. And there was I think it was Lisa, it might have been Brian, who was like, you don't have to do this. Like, it doesn't have to be you. And then she says, no, it kind of does. And then she kills Coil. So taking that pin out, Taylor finally killed someone. And again, one of those little things I'm disappointed by is I was really hoping her first kill was going to be Emma. I don't know what happens to Emma in this story. I don't know if she ends up becoming one of Taylor's minions, if she ever gets powers, if Taylor like throws her on a locker full of bugs and is like, cool, you get to stay here until you either get powers or die or some shit. That would be wild. Holy shit. It's like, given the fact that Emma is so personal to her. It's like, this is the person that betrayed her, that made her life hell for so many years, that caused her trigger event. There's something about Emma being the one to truly push her over the line. Like, there's no going back after this. Flexible morality aside, Skinner morality aside, a life is a life. There is no option to say, yeah, I'm kind of playing villain after that. You can't just go like join the wards after that. For me, Emma being that final step would have been perfect. But again, I don't know what's in store for her, so I might recant that. But if it can't be Emma, I think Coil's a really, really good backup option. Like, nah, that was kind of hard. And I remember talking to my friend quite a while ago, and he was telling me, he's like, I won't tell you what it is, but there's something that Taylor does that to me is just unforgivable. Like, you can't do that to another person. And I was like, I don't know what it is. I didn't ask. I think the one thing I did ask, I was like, is it her killing somebody? Is it like when she finally takes a life? He's like, no, it is not that. I would agree. Is, a life is a life. Like, that's a huge step. There's justification in taking out Coil with all the shit that he has done, with what he is capable of. Like, this is self-defense. 100%. He was just trying to kill her, like, literally in that scene. There's also this one bit, which I was going to say earlier, I just forgot to, is, when Taylor's like, dude, you were trying to betray me. He's like, okay, first off, yeah, I've had this plan for a while because I don't trust you. And two, I made another reality where I tortured one of the Undersiders and they told me all about your fucking plans. So, yeah, believe it or not, I knew I had to get rid of you. So, It is not that I was trying to get rid of you and you're acting in self-defense. I'm acting in self-defense because I know what you're trying to do to me. And there's a part of me that was like, who did he torture? I don't know. I don't think it was Taylor, because I genuinely don't believe Taylor would have talked. Like, as crazy and like stubborn as she is, there is no way she would have talked and outed her friends. Regent? I think Regent would have, because he's even said, he's like, I mean, they're my teammates, they're my friends, but I mean, I can kind of take them or leave them. Imp, I think maybe, but she's also so close to her brother, he might not have broken. I don't think Brian would have broken, because I'm protecting my sister, and also Taylor too, but I'm protecting my sister. Like, Brian would have died rather than giving anything up. I'm not as sure about Lisa. I think Lisa probably would have broken, at least eventually. Rachel, like, again, I don't think Rachel really feels close enough or indebted enough to anyone in the Undersiders to, like, go on that kind of limb for them. But she would do it for her dogs. But also, Rachel is so stubborn, she might have just said, like, nah, fuck you, I'm not talking. So, like, I don't know if there's ever confirmation on this. My guess is it was probably either Regent or Tattletale. Anyways. Coil is dead. Skidder is able to finally save that girl. He's finally able to save Dinah. And, before that happens, though, before they actually kill Coil, she makes the final plea to the Travelers. So the Travelers like, look, we need him and his resources. We can't let you kill him. And then Imp, like, starts, like, banging them all in the back of the head. But Taylor's like, okay, are any of you willing to join us and, like, leave the Travelers? Ballistic, like, you talked about how much you think Trickster is, like, a fucking moron. Are you willing to do that? And he does. And I'm gonna be honest, like, after Arc 17, that hurts a lot more in hindsight that happened. And then she asks Marissa, which is Sundancer, and Sundancer's like, I can't leave my friends. And the arc ends where it's like, Coil's dead, they save Dinah, and they go to check on Noelle, and Noelle's gone. And Taylor looks at Lisa and is like, okay, so Lisa, how bad is that? It's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fucked are we that Noelle is gone? Let me answer it like this, Taylor. We need to turn on the Endbringer sirens. And that's how it ends. And I was like, yeah, I gotta read the next arc right away. There are interludes that happened. I didn't bring them up yet. There were 3 of them. The first one was like this PRT squad fighting some dude. What was his thing? It was like he could make zombies. It was like he could like turn. It was either, I think it was he could full on make people with powers that were like loyal to him. I'm gonna be honest. It was an interlude that kind of went in one ear and right out the other. It didn't really leave an impact on me as it was happening. I'm assuming it's going to be super important later. The other was my boy Defiant, good old Colin, and it's him in a town that's been attacked by the 9. And it's like a little mini detective story trying to figure out what's happening. Dragon is in his ear while he's talking to this local sheriff. And I love Dragon coaching him through the conversation. It's like, okay, Colin, this is what you should say. This is what you should say. One, because, like, what do you know? Like, the AI is more human than the human. But also just that sense of Colin is so fucking bad at human interaction. He actively needs a coach to get him through this basic conversation. Now, to be fair, it's not a basic conversation. It is, your men died, and this is how they died, and I need you to stay with me, and you just stay focused, and you just stay sharp, so you can help me help you. It's not a basic conversation, but it's like he needs coaching to get through a human interaction. It's like, this is interesting. He and Dragon are like kind of flirting. It's like, that's another ship. I really like Colin and Dragon. I've never seen the movie Her. I really, especially because Arcade Fire did the soundtrack, and I listened to like Arcade Fire's entire discography over the course of this week. I think that's one of their only albums I haven't listened to yet, was the Her soundtrack, so I need to watch that, but I like that a lot. Dragon specifically mentions to Colin that, like, hey, when we're done with what we're doing right now, Remind me to tell you about Cauldron? Because, Colin brings up, he's like, Dragon, I think you maybe had a trigger event. She's like, I'm not a human. How the fuck could I have a trigger event? I don't know. I'm not a hundo either. It's a vibe I have. It's a theory I have. And I don't know, maybe like we can make these like files on you and like, kind of the shit that we learned. Like, maybe not upload it on the PRT. Why? You don't trust him? Well, remind me to talk to you about Cauldron later. So that's how that one went. The other one was with Marquis. I'm not hundo on how you pronounce it, because I think I've heard it that you can pronounce it both, but I'm not 100 on that. But Amelia's dad in the birdcage, and he like calls a meeting of all like the big generals at the cell blocks, and he has Lung there, and Lung's like, I don't want to go with you. I'm not one of your men. Yeah, but like, I don't know, we're kind of cool, and if I bring you, it looks good for me. Yeah, you're trying to use me for your own purposes. Fuck you. At some point, I'm going to kill you and take your spot. Yeah, I hope you do. What do you mean you hope I do? What the fuck is wrong with you? Well, someone's going to do it. I'm not going to live forever. And it's the birdcage. We're some of the worst criminals on the planet. Someone's going to kill me and take my authority. I'd rather it be you, someone who's an acquaintance that I enjoy interacting with, but not necessarily my friend, not someone that I trust. It would break my heart if it was someone I trusted. Yeah, but you're going to be dead, so it doesn't really matter now, does it? I guess not. But all the same, Lung, rather it be you. And in this meeting, he's essentially introducing everyone to Amy. It's like, hey, so this is what she can do. We can use her power, like, to heal y'all if you need it. But also, it's not free. It has to cost things. Amy, you can't heal these people, right? Because, like, if I just have you, if you're not using your power, you're just kind of dead weight, and, being dead weight in the birdcage is really bad, but also being a woman here in the male wing is really bad. And if you are just dead weight, I lose all authority and respect, and we're totally fucked. Please tell me you can use your power. They talk about how they think the birdcage is actually like a pocket dimension. It's like, that's kind of cool. There was this one character who's like a fairy. She has this like weird Fae biology and Fae mindset, and the way she talks, she's like a chuny boy. Where she's like, like the fuck, what did she say? It's something along the lines of like the Fae, or like, my people will remember this, and blah blah blah. And I think she leaves the conversation. Everyone's like, yeah, she's kind of a little wacko. Like, it is what it is. And Amy's like, oh no, like, she's totally legit. Like, I touched her for a second, and I, like, felt her biology. No, like, she's not 100% human. Like, there's fairies in her. Like, wait, what the fuck? It's shit like that makes me love her. It's like, I need an arc in the birdcage. Like, it gives me more Amy and Amy's baby girl. But, like, I want to see more of, like, the worst villains in the setting, and weird, crazy shit like the fairy lady, and also more Lung. I like Lung. It's like, that's it. It's been 58 minutes, but I do think that's it for this arc. Just double checking. Yeah. The other thing is that Sierra, one of Skitter's loyal minions, like, I don't really want to be a supervillain minion anymore. Like, Dad, I don't want to do hamster style anymore. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Am I allowed to leave? I'd rather you didn't, but yeah, you're allowed to leave. Just like, give me fair notice. I think that's pretty much it. Arc 16 was really, really fucking good. I'll do a video on 17 soon, maybe even like tomorrow or something. It's also really fucking good. I finished it earlier today, so I haven't started 18 yet. I assume it's gonna be really fucking good. It's like, alright, now that we got Traveler Backstar, we gotta deal with Endbringer Noel. So I'm so excited to talk about the Simurg in 17, or like however the fuck you pronounce it. I love this thing. This is easily my favorite hamburger so far. It's so fucking cool. But we'll get to it when we get to it. And we're so fucking